Senior Congress leader P. Chidambaram, issuing a shocking statement, said that India did not have the capability to target Hafiz in a raid like the one that Americans undertook. He also said that if India would have tried to do so in 2008, we would have failed, which would have been even a bigger blow. And that's the statement coming in. And, remember, when it comes to Mr. P. Chidambaram, a person who's held the home portfolio in the country, he has been targeting the army and perhaps making individual attacks at the army chief, General Bipin Rawat, in the last 2 years relentlessly. That is Mr. P. Chidambaram once again, in fact, questioning the capability of the army, suggesting that if we attempted way back in 2008, and that, of course, he's talking in context of the Mumbai attack, saying that if we had tried to avenge the Mumbai attack and tried to take Hafiz out, we would have failed miserably. And Pradeep joins us live, our senior editor from Jammu. Pradeep, very good morning to you. Now, this is the big story that we are breaking right now, Pradeep. The controversial statement coming in once again from Mr. P. Chidambaram, former Home Minister and Finance Minister of the country, suggesting that, India doesn't have the capability, for that matter, specifically the army doesn't have the capability to take out people like Hafiz in an American-style attack in which they, in fact, removed Osama bin Laden and, of course, killed him. He goes on to say that India doesn't have that sort of a capability to do the same.
Hello.
Well, I believe we are having problems with Pradeep. We'll try and connect the line with him. But this is the big story that we are breaking on Times Now right now. That is Mr. P. Chidambaram's controversial statement coming in. And this, of course, we are comparing that with...
And here he's a man, P. Chidambaram, who had also been the Home Minister of the state. Problem aa rahi hai.
All right, I think we'll try and fix that line with Pradeep in just a bit, but reminding you of the story that we are breaking on top of 11:30. This is the story. First, we put out what Army Chief Bipin Rawat told our editor-in-chief Rahul Shivshankar just yesterday about the capability of army to carry out an American-style attack. And then, of course, comes a statement countering exactly that point by Mr. P. Chidambaram. Pradeep, I will try and go back to Pradeep, but we are having problems in fixing that line. This is the story that is breaking right now on Times Now. The two big statements coming in, one from General Bipin Rawat and a statement countering exactly that point by Mr. P. Chidambaram, the former Home Minister of India. All right, let's try and go back to Pradeep one more time. Pradeep, if you can hear me, do confirm you can hear me. And the story that we are breaking on Times Now, the big story that we are breaking is the insult coming in from the Congress party, none other than the former Home Minister, Mr. P. Chidambaram, suggesting that India will fail if at all it plans to take out Hafiz in an American-style attack in which America, of course, tried to eliminate and eliminated Osama bin Laden.
See, Megha, this is really very unfortunate that a person who had been the Home Minister of the state also, and he's trying to in fact insult our brave hearts by saying that we don't have the capability to carry out similar kind of attack what was carried out by United States in Pakistan, Abbottabad area, when they had eliminated Osama bin Laden. In fact, he's trying to confront what Army Chief has told our Editor-in-Chief Rahul Shivshankar by saying that they are also having the capability to carry out similar kind of attack, where he gave a very strong warning to Pakistan, saying that if they will not, if they will continue with their nefarious design, they will have no other option but to carry out a similar kind of attack for Hafiz, the terrorist who had been putting up in Pakistan for quite some time and spraying venom against the country and pushing in terrorists into this side of the border. I think a person like Chidambaram, who is a senior leader, had been the Home Minister, he should not give this statement, because that way he's simply sprinkling salt on the wounds of all those soldiers who had been sacrificing their lives for the country. Because here is a we have seen in the past also how our armed forces had been in fact facing lot many problems on the border. They are standing like a rock on the border. They are taking facing bullets, and they have the capability. Already we saw in 2016 how they carried out surgical strike. They crossed line of control. That was really very impossible, because it was not a very easy task, that crossing line of control, going into the Pakistan side and then destroying their launch pads and killing large number of terrorists. If they can do in the past, they can do in the future also. That time also a meticulous planning was required by the army, and they carried out attack after the Uri encounter, in which 17 of our soldiers were killed. We have seen that how terrorists came into this side of the border. They killed our soldiers. Many of our soldiers were martyred. After that, India had planned similar kind of operation, and in fact General Bipin Rawat, though he was not that time the chief, he was also the main man in that planning. So the planning was carried out at that point of time when right now the GOC in C, Northern Command, Ranbir Singh, who was also the part of that planning. So how our army officers carried out the plan to ensure that the launch pads were destroyed, because before that nobody had thought that ever such kind of operation will be taken out on the cross the line of control. But simply Chidambaram is playing politics, because whatever the BJP or the present leadership will be doing, they will not be giving a pat on their back. They will not be in fact saying any good word. But they don't realize that ours is a political army. You need not politicize security, and never ever try to mix security with politics. That is really going to demoralize our forces. I think being a very senior leader, he should have rather tried to tell our forces that yes, you have the capability to do. And because they have to understand, it is not the BJP that is their enemy. It is the enemy sitting across the border, who had been often sending the terrorists into this side of the border. They are not only trying to destabilize the situation in Jammu and Kashmir, but Hafiz said there's also been trying to hobnob with the terror element even in northeast area, and now in Punjab also, where they are trying to destabilize the situation and to ensure that the bloods of the innocent is being spilled. And few days back we saw that there was an attack even in Amritsar area. The Pakistan hand has been behind that attack also. How these terror proxies and the terror related elements sitting across the border. I think Indian troops have the capability. Nobody need to underestimate that what actually Chidambaram is trying to do. He is committing one of the biggest blunder. Never ever try to politicize such issue, because our troops have done it in the past. They had 47 war, 65 war, 71 war, and even the Kargil war. The Kargil war, they were at the advantageous position, and that time also how our soldiers, in fact, they climbed that cliff. It was the Tiger Hill, whether it was Batalik Heights, they climbed those cliffs, and how they were able to in fact ensure that all those Pakistani troops who were entrenched in the bunkers, they were thrown out, they were killed, and our land was once again reoccupied. That has been taken by Pakistan. So they have done it in the past. Pakistan, I don't think that anybody in the Indian Armed Forces, in the man in olive green, need any kind of a certificate from any of the politicians. I think this is the high time that in fact Chidambaram need to apologize to all those brave hearts who have sacrificed their life for the country since 1947.
Absolutely,
not to talk of
Pradeep.
these 3 decades of the terrorism which they are countering, whether it's a counterinsurgency operation, whether it's a counter-infiltration operation.
Yes.
He need to apologize for that, because being a senior, I think it is also Rahul Gandhi also need to snub Chidambaram in this regard.
Absolutely,
Because
Pradeep, you've hit the nail on its head, and stay on with us. Let me open this big story that we are breaking right now to our guests who are joining us on the broadcast. Colonel Shailendra Singh, retired defense expert, also Mr. R.S.N. Singh, an author, and Ashutosh, political analyst, who also joins us from New Delhi. I'll try and take this question to Ashutosh first, if you can hear us. Ashutosh, the question right now: who is Mr. Chidambaram to undermine the capability of Indian Army? Is he not doing a disservice to the country because he himself has held the home portfolio? For him to come out with a statement of this nature is extremely disappointing.
First of all, Megha, it's in no way an insult to the army. I think too much is being read into it. More has been read than what has been said. It was just a reality check where he spoke about Hafiz, our capability to do an operation a la Osama bin Laden. So, if as a former home minister, he has he has more facts with us at his disposal than we have. If he has made that observation, it's in no way an insult to the army. I mean, we have had a prime minister who said that वो एक सर ले जाएंगे, हम 10 सर काट के लाएंगे. So instead of making empty bombastic statements, he has done a reality check, and no one doubts
when the Prime Minister says, and you yourself are bringing the statement up, when the Prime Minister says that we will retaliate, is in no way an insult to the army. R.S.N. Singh, I'm taking this question to you, sir. When Ashutosh said that more is being read into what has actually been said, and this is no insult to the army, how do you respond?
No, firstly, I mean, Mr. Chidambaram was the Home Minister. He has no business or he has no knowledge to comment on the capabilities of the armed forces. So he may have also ruled out, this very, surgical strike that we carried out if he were to be, his opinion was to be taken. So there are any number of options on the table, and if the army chief says so, the country has to believe it. Because let me tell you, I don't know how much of credit this country has given. Remember, since 90s, people from 32 countries have been fighting in Kashmir, right? And these people from 32 countries, they are the veterans of Afghan war who brought down to Cold War to an end. So your young officers in the valley, they humbled these so-called, jihadi veterans of Afghan war. And let me also tell Mr. Chidambaram that had it not been for the attrition carried out by the Indian Army, I don't know how many 9/11s and 26/11s would have taken place. So please don't run down. All options are on table. When and how it is exercised, leave it to the specialists, leave it to your armed forces. You have no business. You can straddle between politics and law. I mean, whichever suits you, and any third interest if you have.
Absolutely.
And just leave the armed forces alone. You have
Absolutely,
no business.
Mr. Singh. In fact,
I don't know. First, he should. Where did he acquire this knowledge from?
Yes, and I would like Colonel Shailendra Singh to in fact respond to that question and the point that you are making, that please leave it to the army. Let the army and the army chief decide whether they have the capability to take out Hafiz Saeed, for that matter, other terrorists who have been, of course, creating problems in the country, whether they have the capability to do so or not. Let not a politician, for that matter, decide on the capacity of the Indian Army and try and counter the army chief's statement.
Meghna, it is well said, little knowledge is dangerous. It becomes very dangerous when it is at a senior level. I will tend to agree with what Ashutosh is saying. If at all he actually means it, then nothing much to be read in what he has said, or we are reading too much in it. Okay, fine, Ashutosh. If this is the way it is, then I interpret it very correctly. It is not an insult to Indian Army, because I know Chidambaram साहब की औकात नहीं है कि वो Indian Army की insult कर पाएं. But it's definitely an insult to himself. I'm actually quite shocked that how come Mr. Chidambaram, who's got a fame only for finance, and that too I don't know what kind of damage he did, that he did that finance management so well that he could only manage things for his son, and he dare comment on Indian Army, or for that matter any number of forces.
I think we have a politician speaking here instead of an army man.
2008. That amounts to.
Yes, Mr. Ashutosh. Yeah. Yes.
Oh, no, Ashutosh. If we have been maintaining these forces for last 40, 50, 60 years,
and instead of an army man,
we are not confident of their capability,
then
I think
not at all, Ashutosh. We are not deviating from the subject. We are very much on the subject. He's discussing the story.
He's digressing. He's also
gentlemen.
He's also speaking about.
All right, gentlemen. Let me quickly take a short break, requesting all of you to stay on with us. We'll come back with all three of you in just about a bit. So just stay on with us. Welcome back. The big story that we are putting out on Times Now right now, breaking the big story, is the comments coming in from former Home Minister of the country, Mr. P. Chidambaram, attempting to deride the army chief, countering the statement of General Bipin Rawat given to Times Now in an exclusive interview to Times Now's editor-in-chief Rahul Shivshankar, where the army chief made it absolutely clear that if we so wished, we could have mounted an American-type attack on Pakistan and taken out people like Hafiz Saeed to avenge the attack in Mumbai in 2008. But countering that exact point is the statement coming in from Mr. P. Chidambaram in an interview that has published this morning. He says that if we had attempted this, we would have failed in 2008, and he is casting aspersions on Indian Army's capability, saying that I really doubt if we have that capability even now. We're discussing the story with our guest. We have Colonel Chidambaram Singh, retired defense expert. He is also Mr. R.S. Singh, author, and Ashutosh, a political analyst, joining us from New Delhi. Ashutosh, you were making a point, saying too much is being read into it, but the question that Times Now is asking right now, Ashutosh, is this: should Mr. P. Chidambaram now tender an apology for making a statement of this nature?
No, he shouldn't. No, because even today the army reports to the elected government of India. So the final decision in any case will be taken by the Prime Minister of India and the government, and not by the army chief. Army chief can advise.
Please answer the question. The question is, should Mr. P. Chidambaram tender an apology for making a statement of this nature?
Very illogical.
Answer the question.
Yes, please address the point.
I started with a no. That's why I said, because he has not insulted the army. What he has done is just a reality check, which as a former administrator he feels. So in a democracy you have this right to weigh all the options. And as I said, this is a democracy where the army ultimately,
Ashutosh, it's all right. It's all right for them to weigh all the options and make such disparating statements against the army. Colonel Chidambaram Singh, why don't you take that question?
Ashutosh, please, from such a senior man who has been so intelligent, from that party which has governed us for so long, you tell me one thing. If you are saying that we didn't have the capability at that time, then what for we have been maintaining these forces for last 50-60 years? You don't have that kind of confidence in your own forces? That means you are right. We are reading too much. We are reading too much means that we are reading too much that this gentleman who has been always so responsible has become such irresponsible man to give out such illogical statement is quite shocking. I think the elections are telling on him also. That's why his mind is getting wavered. How can you say? And that too, you had a small tenure of a home minister and you start making such big statements? You are right. Nobody is going to ask the home minister that whether we should strike or not. It's an exclusive decision by the cabinet or the defense minister along with the chief.
Colonel R.S. Singh, the question right now, Colonel, is that people like Mr. P. Chidambaram and others from the Congress like Sandeep Dixit, who have made such disrespectful statements against the army chief, should remember that it is this army that went into the Pakistani territory and mounted the surgical strike. If they have done it once, they can do it again if they so wish.
Who is Sandeep Dixit except for being Sheila Dixit's son?
What
is his standing in our country? Who is Sandeep Dixit?
It is the same army which dismembered Pakistan in 1971.
One minute.
Please allow him to respond.
1 minute. Let me explain it this way. Comparing, Osama bin Laden type operation by the Americans, whether Indians, India should do it or not, it is an odious comparison. Firstly, because see, there are opportunities, there are openings for an extra regional power that may not be available to a regional power. So you have to, cater a lot of the geopolitical circumstances. You have to cater the political fallouts and many other fallouts.
All right, so there's breaking news coming in. More inputs on this story. The JDU has now slammed the Congress, says it was wrong of Chidambaram to undermine the army. And that's a big statement coming in from JDU, suggesting that Mr. P. Chidambaram was completely in the wrong to have made a statement of this nature against General Bipin Rawat. With that, we're slipping into a very short break. We'll continue our coverage on this very big story that has broken on Times Now 30 minutes back. Stay with us. Don't go away.